All right, you're unmuted.
All right. Welcome everybody. Good evening, and thank you for coming to the CEC 15 July 25th, 2023 annual meeting. I am Nancy Randall, acting president, and I would like to call this meeting to order at 6:32 p.m. We are coming to you from the district office, 131 Livingston Street. I would ask that everyone here please sign the attendance sheet at the back of the room. And we have on this call right now 22 people. Thank you all for joining us. If you are especially a District 15 community member or parent, thank you so much for being here. And before I call the roll, I would like to, before we call the roll, I would like to invite the interpreters to introduce themselves in their languages. I'd like to first ask the Bangla interpreter to introduce themselves.
শুভ সন্ধ্যা। আমি বাংলা ইন্টারপ্রেটার বলছি। আমি আপনারা যারা এই পুরো অনুষ্ঠানটা বাংলাদেশ শুনতে চান তারা দয়া করে এই নাম্বারে কল দিন। নাম্বারটা হচ্ছে 347-966-4114। আমি আবারও বলছি নাম্বারটা 347-966-4114। তারপরে আপনি 121-172-27 হ্যাশট্যাগ চাপুন। আবারও বলছি ওই নাম্বারটা চেপে তারপর আপনি 121-172-27 হ্যাশট্যাগ চাপুন কিংবা নাম্বার সাইন চাপুন। ধন্যবাদ।
Thank you so much. And now could I please ask the Mandarin interpreter to introduce themselves?
大家好，我是您的中文口译员，我的名字叫做 Melanie。如果呢需要口译员的这个普通话的口译员翻译，请拨打电话号码347-966-4114，并输入 ID 号278855891井号。再说一次，电话号码是347-966-4114，并输入 ID 号278855891井号。请在这个通话的这个期间保持静音，非常感谢。
Thank you. And now could we please have the Spanish interpreter introduce themselves?
Good afternoon. My name is Alexander Diaz, along with Mr. Vasquez. I'll be your Spanish interpreter for today. Y para mi audiencia en español, si desea escuchar el audio en español, el número para la línea es 347-966-4114 y la clave de ingresar es 316-074-154, símbolo número. Una vez más, el número es 347-966-4114 y la clave es 316-074-154, símbolo número. Gracias. This concludes the Spanish interpretation.
Thank you so much. And now I will pass it to Antonio Ferraro to call the roll.
Okay. Call the roll. Council Member Hans Arietta?
Yeah.
Lauren Barkin? Donalda Chumney? Nancy Cruz, I think she's on her way. She told me she was having some subway trouble. Jonathan Davis?
Here.
And Antonia Ferraro, yes, I'm here. Vanessa Gonzalez Yoka? Leslie King?
Here.
Yoon Lee?
Here.
Nancy Randall?
Here.
Mamoon Rashid?
Present.
Danley Vidal?
Danley, welcome.
Okay, yeah, well. Okay, you do have quorum.
Wonderful. We have quorum. So thank you all so much. I know is there a reverb? Does anybody on the call hear a reverb? Someone sent me a message. Okay, I think it's fine. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here tonight. And we have 3 meetings going on tonight. This is the first of those 3 meetings. It's the annual meeting where the only order of business is to elect our officers for the next year. And so we begin the meeting with the election of our
Chair.
Chair pro tem, Chair pro tem. So it, let's see, the council's bylaws require that officers be elected by roll call vote at the annual meeting. To be elected, a candidate must have at least 7 votes. Officers remain in position until their successors have been elected. The first order of business is to elect a chair pro tem to chair the election meeting until the president has been elected. The chair pro tem must be someone who is not running for president. Once the president is elected, the president can take over chairing the election meeting if the chair pro tem wants to run for office. If the council fails to elect a president on the first round, the chair pro tem may step aside for the election of other officer positions that he or she is interested in running for. We will vote on other offices after that of president. If no candidate receives at least 7 votes for a position, we will vote on whether to do a second or third round of voting. Are there any nominations for chair pro tem? I nominate Antonia Ferraro.
I accept the nomination for chair pro tem.
Are there any other nominations for chair pro tem? If there are no other nominations for chair pro tem, the nominations for chair pro tem are now closed, and we will proceed to a roll call vote for chair pro tem. So now we are voting to elect Antonia to be the chair pro tem to run the election of the president.
I guess, can I call roll if I'm running for chair pro tem?
Shanice, can you call the roll?
Oh, he can't actually vote
He can't
because
vote.
he's. I guess you just, yeah, you would vote in favor of me as chair pro tem. Okay, all right.
Yes.
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 Yes. Oh, actually, Nancy Cruz or Nancy Randall? Okay, yes. 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 Thank you so much, Shanice.
Yeah, I vote for myself for chair pro tem.
Congratulations, Antonia Ferraro has been elected to serve as chair pro tem and will conduct the election of officers for 2023-24.
Okay, now I have to find the place in this document. Okay. To elect officers, we will vote upon each position before moving on to the next so that any candidate not elected to an officer can run for others. I will take nominations. Members can nominate themselves. If a member is nominated by another member, I will confirm that he or she accepts the nomination. If a member is not present but has submitted his or her nomination in writing to the AA or another member, he or she will be treated the same as any member who is present, including having a 2-minute statement read aloud by someone else. Each nominee will be allowed to make a speech of up to 2 minutes. Following the candidates' presentations, we will conduct a roll call vote. All positions must be voted on, even if there is only one candidate. Where there are 2 or more candidates, each member must make a choice and vote for one or the other members may abstain from voting. If no candidate receives at least 7 votes, this needs to be corrected, 7 votes, we will move on to the next position and return to undecided positions at the end. If a position remains unfilled over 2 or more rounds of voting, the incumbent will continue in the position. New elections for all unfilled positions must be put on the agenda of the following month's calendar meeting. Is everything clear about that? Are there any questions?
Do you want to take a minute? Just.
She's got translate on.
Oh, okay,
Oh,
wonderful.
okay.
Okay, great.
All right. Okay, first, we will elect the council president. Are there any nominations for the president?
I nominate myself.
Okay. Are there any other nominations for the role of president? All right. The nominations for the office of president are now closed. And I will call on each candidate to make a statement of up to 2 minutes. After all candidates have spoken, we will proceed with the roll call vote.
Recording in progress.
Okay, that's all right. All right, Nancy, do you want to speak about
I do.
this?
I am extremely grateful that beginning this term today, we have all of our council members present. Danley, I'm sorry we didn't get a chance to meet yet, but thank you so much for being here. Actually, we're waiting on one council member who is on her way, so she's about to be here. I'm very excited about this new council. I'm very excited about all of the passion that everybody has, the amount of interest that everybody has, really the differences of opinion that I've heard so far, which I think will be only a bonus to our district and to the families of our district. So I am very excited to work together to support one another and to do what we can for the families of the students in our district. So thank you all so much for being in this together, basically.
Okay. I will begin the roll call vote. Lauren Barkin? We need one more chair. All right, we're gonna pause the voting because another member has just entered. Okay, we now have Nancy Cruz has joined us, and we're going to continue with the voting for president. We've had one vote from Lauren Barkin and Donalda Chumney. How do you vote? Aye. Aye, okay. Nancy Cruz, there was only one nomination for president.
Right.
And,
Yes.
okay. Jonathan?
Yes.
Okay, and Antonia Furrow, yes, I vote yes, Nancy. And Vanessa?
Yes.
And Leslie?
Yes.
And Yoon Lee? And Nancy, how do you vote? Nancy Randall?
Yes.
And Mamoon Rashid?
Yes.
And Danley? Okay. Great, all right, so Nancy, congratulations. You are now the president of CEC 15.
Thank you.
Uh,
And I again, this does not, I'm breaking protocol, but I just want to yet again shout out Camille Casaretti, the former president of CEC 15 is here, and we miss you very much. And thank you so much for being here.
Do you need this at all?
So sure,
you
so
just-
now,
It's the same thing over again, just
Alright.
for the next,
okay, so let's see, now we move to, next we will elect Vice President 1. Are there any nominations for the office of Vice President 1?
I wish to nominate myself as Vice President 1.
Are there any other nominations for Vice President 1? Okay, barring other nominations for Vice President 1, Antonia Ferraro has nominated herself. Nominations for the office of Vice President 1 are now closed. I will now call each candidate in alphabetical order to make a statement of up to 2 minutes. Antonia?
Okay, hi, everybody. I enjoyed spending time with all of you last month at our training session. I thought it was a really great start to a new council, and my partner in crime, Camille Casaretti, is somebody who I worked with for so long over my last 3 terms on the council, and I learned so much from her that I hope to carry on in this role. I'm now a borough president appointee on this body, and I've done almost every role on the council. I've been secretary, both co-VPs over the past 6 years. I think looking forward, there's a lot of issues that I kind of can't wait to dig into, like integrating new asylum seekers into the district, literacy work. As you know, I have a child with dyslexia, so that's very important to me. I think something I've tried to dig into in the past is the idea of universal after school. I think our schools are always sort of burdened with cobbling together some sort of after school program from multiple sources. And so a more universal approach to after school programs is something that I really want to dig into. And, you know, District 15 has just always been a thought leader on diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I just look forward to continuing that work going forward. So that's my spiel.
Thank you so much, Antonia. We will now vote by roll call.
Do you want to see the?
Okay,
And
thank you.
I'll log it, but you
Okay,
call
okay,
it
great,
because-
thank you. Can you log it?
She's gonna log too. It's
Okay.
all
Okay, all right,
public, so
okay. And now does the order change?
no.
Still going in the alphabetical order?
Yeah.
Okay. Lauren?
Yes.
Donalda?
Yes.
Nancy Cruz? Jonathan?
Yes.
Antonia?
Yes.
Vanessa?
Oh, nice.
Leslie?
Yes.
You?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Mamoon?
Yes.
Danley? Okay, wonderful. Congratulations, Antonia. You were Vice President 1 for the 2023-24 term. Okay, wonderful. Now we will move on to the election of Vice President 2. Are there any nominations for Vice President 2? Okay, Vanessa Gonzalez, you woke up. Are there any other nominations for Vice President 2? Okay, barring other nominations, nominations are now closed. And Vanessa, would you like to speak?
It's been a privilege and an honor to work alongside the council us year and a half, with Camille at the helm, and with Antonia and Nancy as very engaged participants. I would like to stay with New York. I have been working in nonprofit sectors and education for over a decade now as a volunteer, and this is been one of the most fulfilling commitments I've had, and I am grateful to continue to work with.
Thank you so much, Vanessa. We will now call the roll. Lauren?
Yes.
Donalda?
Yes.
Nancy Cruz?
Yes.
Jonathan?
Yes.
Antonia?
Yes.
Vanessa?
Yes.
Leslie?
Yes.
Yoon?
Yeah.
Myself, yes. Mamoon?
Yes.
Danley? Wonderful. Congratulations, Vanessa.
Yay.
You are now Vice President 2. Okay, we will now move to the office. Is Secretary next?
Secretary is next.
We will now move to the office of Secretary. Are there any nominations for the office of Secretary? Okay, all right. Nancy Cruz? Are there any other nominations for the office of Secretary? Okay, barring other nominations, Nancy Cruz has nominated herself. Nancy, could you please give barring other nominations, the nominations are now closed. Nancy, could you please give us your 2-minute speech? Or less.
I've been in the game as a parent of public school kids for many years now. My oldest is in college. My youngest is in middle school, District 15. I was president of the President's Council this past year. I'm president of the PTA last year. This year, on the SLT, I was on SLT at 51 before and after equity happened, and of course, president and secretary and everything else at 21, I guess. Just kind of like to pitch in and help out, and I believe in the message of District 15, and obviously our mission is important, and I enjoy working with.
Thank you so much, Nancy. And now we will move to a roll call vote. Lauren? Donalda?
Yes.
Nancy Cruz? Jonathan?
Yes.
Antonia?
Yes.
Vanessa? Leslie?
Yes.
Yoon?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Mamoon?
Yes.
Danley? Okay, wonderful. Congratulations, Nancy Cruz. You are now secretary. And now we will move to the office of treasurer. Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay. Are there any nominations for the office of treasurer?
Would you like me to read the?
Yes, that would be
Let me-
wonderful,
let
because that
me-
might spark someone to realize that they've been
let
waiting
me-
for this
let
moment to
me-
become treasurer of CEC
Let me dig up
15.
the bylaws here. And I'll just read a little bit about what that role is. Hold on. Okay, the treasurer shall be responsible for working with the administrative assistant and designated Department of Education staff to ensure that business transactions and member reimbursement requests are properly documented and follow DOE standard operating procedures. The treasurer shall sign the president's reimbursement requests, supervise the administrative assistant in preparing budgets and regular financial reports, and shall present same to the council for approval. The treasurer shall also discharge such functions as may be assigned to him or her by the president or duly adopted council resolution.
Does that sound riveting? And is anyone now wanting to nominate themselves?
What's the treasure amount annually?
What is the what? Sorry.
The amount that.
25,000. Oh, that's the
Yeah,
whole
what is the-
budget
yeah.
of the councils, 25,000. There's not a lot of creativity that can happen in our budgets.
No, it really isn't.
Can we function without a treasurer? Is it a mandatory?
We're going to keep presenting the treasurer role at every meeting until someone fills it. So we can function. We would rather not. Obviously, it will fall to the president, the vice president, and just like down the line, somebody will have to do it. And fortunately for us, we're a CEC with a very high functioning AA who's been trained over the last year. She really knows her stuff. And she can communicate with those DOE entities that you need to communicate with to get your questions answered. My opinion is it's not as involved as some of the other roles. But it can, it's what you make of it.
I'll do it.
Okay.
Woohoo!
There you go.
Everyone's so happy.
All right. we
Just
have-
remember this joy if your money doesn't come exactly.
We have a nomination from Donaldo Chumney. Donaldo, could you, sorry, are there any other nominations for treasurer? Barring other nominations, the nominations are now closed for treasurer. Donaldo, could you please give us your 2-minute speech?
Oh, wow, this is such a surprise. You know, I would really love to be a contributor to our council in a special way. And I would love to work with Shanice to make it happen so that we can really think about our resources and execute our plan in the way that has the most integrity for our vision for our district and in partnership with the agencies. So that's all. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, I will now call the roll. Lauren,
Yes.
Donaldo,
Yes.
Jonathan, sorry, Nancy Cruz,
Yes.
Jonathan,
Yes.
Antonia,
Yes.
Vanessa,
Yes.
Leslie,
Yes.
Yoon,
Yes.
Nancy Randall, yes. Mamoon,
Yes.
Stanley. Okay, wonderful. Congratulations, Donaldo. You have been elected to serve as treasurer for 23-24. And the last office that we are electing tonight is parliamentarian. Do we have any nominations for the office of parliamentarian?
Okay, let me dig that up. Okay. The parliamentarian shall rule on points of procedure relating to the bylaws. The parliamentarian shall be responsible for maintaining order at any meeting and that a meeting is held to its scheduled timetable. So you're the timekeeper if you're the parliamentarian. And in my experience, the parliamentarian should also have a healthy dose of social emotional, like EQ. You need, because you're going to have to tell people they've met their speaking time and we need to move on, and you have to find a way to do that graciously. So
I wanted to nominate.
Wonderful. Leslie King has nominated herself. Are there any other nominations for parliamentarian? All right, barring other nominations for parliamentarian, the nominations are now closed. Leslie, could you please give us your 2-minute speech or less?
My 2-minute speech. I guess I'm echoing all of you and saying that I'm looking forward to working with all of you and working with the community. And I guess as far as like a parliamentarian, running the meetings in a smooth way. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you so much, Leslie. All right, we will now go down the roll. Lauren,
Yes.
Donalda,
Yes.
Nancy Cruz,
Yes.
Jonathan,
Yes.
Antonia.
yes.
Vanessa,
Yes.
Leslie,
Yes.
Yoon, myself, yes, Mamoon,
Yes.
Danley.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Congratulations, Leslie. You are now the parliamentarian for our 23-24 year. This concludes our annual meeting. Thank you, everyone, for logging on for our annual meeting. And I adjourn it at 7:03 p.m. And please, no one go anywhere because we are about to start our calendar meeting. But I would like us to take about a 1-minute break. Can we do
Okay.
so?
Can we move to adjourn and then second to
Oh, we
adjourn?
must move to
We
adjourn?
must move to adjourn.
Oh. All right, I move, do I have a motion to adjourn our annual meeting?
I will move to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay.
All right. So now at 7:04, I am adjourning our annual meeting.
Okay.
Must I
There
move
we
for us
go.
to take a 2-minute break or?
Yeah, you
Yes?
should. Sure.
Okay, I move for us to take a 2-minute break. Is there a second? Must I get a second? for that? Thank you. Thank you. All right, everyone. Please stay with us. We will be back in literally 2 minutes.
Okay. I'm gonna put this
sharing and
Okay.
Should I be unmuting myself on my computer? No, right? That'll have
No,
reverb.
you stay muted.
Okay.
Because the microphone
Right.
is what is listening to you, not your computer's microphone.
All right, everyone. We are now moving to our calendar meetings. So do I use the gavel now?
You could. It's a little
It's a little extreme.
extreme. You're
All
getting
right.
crazy with power.
I know, right? I just got it already. All right.
No, she has a gavel.
Oh, there is a gavel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, it's actually a gavel.
It's
there.
actually a
That's
gavel.
amazing.
All right. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for coming to the CEC 15 July 25th, 2023 calendar meeting. I'm Nancy Randall, president of CEC 15, and I would like to call this meeting to order at 7:10 p.m. We are coming to you from the district office, 131 Livingston Street. If anyone has arrived since the beginning of our annual meeting, please sign our attendance sheet at the back of the room. Currently, we have 26 people on our Zoom call. Thank you all for being here. Before we call the roll, I would like once again to invite the interpreters to introduce themselves in their languages. And this time I will ask the Spanish interpreter to go first, please.
Just taking the button off mute. Thank you. My name is Alexander Diaz. I'll be your Spanish interpreter along with my colleague, Mr. Vasquez. Por favor, si quieren asistir a la reunión en español, por favor, marque 347-966-4114 y la clave de ingresar es 316-074-154, símbolo de número. Una vez más, el número de teléfono es 347-966-4114 y la clave es 316-074-154, símbolo de número. Gracias. This concludes the Spanish interpretation presentation.
Thank you so much. Now I call on the Bangla interpreter, please.
যদি বাংলা শুনতে চান আমাদের জন্য আপনাদের যে নাম্বারটিতে ডায়াল করতে হবে নাম্বারটা হচ্ছে 347-966-4114। তারপরে যেটা করতে হবে আপনাদেরকে একটা আইডি আছে সেটা বসাতে হবে 121-172-27 এবং পাউন্ড কি। ধন্যবাদ।
Okay, thank you so much. And now I call on the Mandarin interpreter, please.
Thank you. The following message will be in Mandarin. 大家好，中文普通话请拨打电话347966411，然后输入会议的 ID 278855891，井号键。再说一遍，中文翻译请拨打347966411，然后并输入会议的 ID 278855891，井号键。谢谢 ，Thank you。
Thank you so much. And now I turn it over to Nancy Cruz.
Yeah.
To call the roll.
Nancy, do you need a list of? Okay, so just read the list of names, starting with Hans.
Okay, Councilmember Hans Arietta, BPA appointee.
Yeah.
Councilmember Lauren Barkin, IPA. Here. Councilmember Donalda Chumney. Councilmember Nancy Cruz. Here. Councilmember Jonathan Davis.
Here.
Councilmember Antonia Ferraro.
Here.
Councilmember Vanessa Gonzalez Ruelka. Councilmember Leslie King. Here. Councilmember Yuli. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Councilmember Nancy Randall.
Here.
Councilmember Mahmoud Rashid.
Here.
Councilmember Stanley Riddell.
Thank you so much, Nancy. We have quorum, 0 absent and 0 late. And now I turn it to Vanessa Gonzalez Uoka, our Vice President 2. No, actually I don't. I turn it to you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I turn it to Antonia Ferraro, Vice President 1, for the
Okay.
introduction to CEC 15.
Okay. Thank you so much, Nancy. And thank you to everybody out there in the world for coming to District 15's Community Education Council meeting tonight. We appreciate your time and we are glad that you could join us. For those of you who are new to CEC meetings, there are 32 CECs throughout the city, plus 4 citywide councils. Each CEC represents a community school district, and each is made of 12 volunteer members, 10 of whom, this is gotta be changed, 10 of whom were elected by parents in the district. The remaining members are appointed by the Brooklyn Borough President. And we will hopefully one day have 2 high school student members. CEC 15 is a state mandated public body responsible for ensuring that public school parents and the public have input in education decisions that are made at the school district level. Our council reviews education policies and advocates for high quality education that benefit all of our District 15 public elementary and middle school students. CEC 15 serves 35 elementary and middle schools and 1 high school under the oversight of our superintendent. CEC members serve in an advisory role on education matters to the district superintendent, the chancellor of the Department of Education, and to state and city elected officials. We approve district school zoning lines submitted by the Department of Education. We evaluate our district superintendent. We review the district's educational programs, and we support school leadership teams. We also submit recommendations for the School Construction Authority's annual capital plan. And as of recent amendments to the law, CECs advise in the selection of parent coordinators. We actively seek input and feedback from the public and encourage you to visit our website, cec15.org. Take a look at our Facebook page, connect with us on Twitter, and write to us about any issues you may want to address or learn about. Each school has a CEC liaison, and all of our names and contact info will be available shortly on the website. That is something we have to update now that we are a new council with new officers. So I want to just remind you to please sign the attendance sheet. If you're just joining us, I will put the link in the chat, and now I will turn it over to our parliamentarian, who probably needs a little bit of yeah.
So tonight's meeting,
Oh, here, just use this to speak into that.
okay. Tonight's meeting is taking place in person, but will include a public comment period. We will take both remote and in-person comments to gather additional feedback from our families and school community members. You may leave your camera on, or for your own privacy, if you prefer, you may use audio only during the comment period and throughout the meeting. Rules of engagement. When you comment, please respect the privacy of others. Please do not include names of children or staff. Guests who make inappropriate comments will be removed from the meeting. During the public comment period, those attending virtually may raise their hand to comment or indicate in the chat that they would like to speak. Those called upon will be unmuted. If you are attending in person, you must sign the guest attendance sheet and indicate whether you would like to comment. Speakers will be called on at one time and will be allowed 1 minute each for comment. We will hear as many speakers as time allows. It is possible that not every comment question will be given the time, so the best way to get your question answered is always to write the CEC at cec15@schools.nyc.gov. CEC members will also be given a comment period. Members will be called upon and are each permitted 1 2-minute comment question. If members do not have a comment, they may cede their time to the chair. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Leslie. So I just want to start for everyone that's joining us on Zoom to kind of just reiterate that we are starting the term of a new council. We went through a phase of elections in the spring, and the 12 people here before you were appointed and voted to these positions. And since we are all new, I thought this would be a wonderful opportunity for each of us to, in 30 seconds, introduce ourselves to anyone who has joined us here tonight. We have Rob Aguilar from the Office of Councilmember Alexa Aviles, thank you. And we have Yuet from Brooklyn North High Schools, thank you. And on the call, we have parents, we have PEP members. So I think it's a wonderful opportunity for each person to introduce themselves. So if you could, we'll just go around and we'll start with you. And maybe Joyce, if you want to interpret, yes. Okay.
大家好，我叫李云。我现在有一个小孩子，他现在即将小学升到初中了，然后正好在15学区的学校，小学也是15学区的学校，然后中学也是15区的学校。我挺重视小孩子的教育的。
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Yuni. I have one kid attending the elementary school in District 15 and is going to attend middle school in the District 15. The reason why I'm attending the council because I'm focused on education exactly for all the kids. So I'm grateful for this opportunity to join the council member District 15.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Hans Arrieta Don Pedro. I'm here to advocate for high quality education too for all the kids in Brooklyn and all New York City too. I'm very happy to be here and I hope we can do a very good role to support all the people on this table. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful afternoon.
Hi, my name is Jonathan Davis. I'm a parent of 2 kids at PS 230 in District 15. I'm a former New York City High School Social Studies teacher and a current teacher educator, and I'm really excited to continue the amazing work that District 15 CEC has been doing.
Hi, everyone. My name is Lauren Barkin. Oops, sorry, this is fun. I am a parent of 2 kids, one in elementary school in District 15 and one in middle school in District 15. I'm really excited to be here with all of you. That's it. That's me.
It's like, that's close enough. Hi, Nancy Cruz again. As I said, 3 kids in public school. One has now graduated high school, is in college, doing great with the fabulous education he received in District 15. I have a middle schooler and an elementary school. I have 1 child with an IEP. And I myself am the product of New York City segregated public school education. So I'm happy to work here with the team and keep our eye on the ball to make sure all kids get the education they deserve. That's as far as it reaches. It will pick you up.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Mahmoud Rashid. I have 2 kids in District 15, and I would like to contribute sometimes in the education system where all the kids they will be ensured to get better education. Since my father was a teacher, my 2 sisters are teacher, and my 2 aunts are teachers. So I'm from the teacher family. So I would like to contribute myself in this field. And in this moment, I would like to thank the voters who elected me. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Vanessa Gonzalez Uyoka. I have been a member of the CEC 15 for about 1.5 years. I've been representing a PS 107, MS 88, the preschool 076 and 172 during that time. I still have a kid in district in elementary school, and I put my oldest daughter through District 15 education from elementary schools through now she's in college. So I'm acquainted with the system and its changes, and it's been great to see how the district has evolved. And I'm happy to be here to continue doing that work.
Hello, my name is Dan Lee Vidal. I am also a product of the New York City public school system from the 1980s. I have 2 kids, 1 child in District 75, and I have a daughter who's currently in college. I'm here because I want to learn how to advocate for kids with autism, special need kids, and to learn how the New York City public school system works. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Donalda Chumney. It's nice to be with everyone here tonight and all of you folks out there. Thanks for joining us. I think I'm here because I really want to be of service in a way that I haven't been before. I'm a career educator in New York City, no longer, but excited to take part of conversation and learning and service on this side of the table. So thanks for being here and thanks for your votes.
Hi, I'm Leslie King. I'm a parent of 2 children in New York City public schools. I have
a sixth grader or a rising seventh grader and a rising senior in high school. I have served on the SLT at 2 schools on the diversity and equity. Started it at BNS a couple of years ago. Also at 321 where my son went to school, and I was on the working group, and I'm just very excited to be a part of this group. I did some work with the CEC when we were working with the diversity initiative, and I'm just very excited to be a part of all the amazing work that the CEC does. Thank you so much.
Hi, everybody. You probably know me by now. My name is Antonia Ferraro Martinelli, and I have been a member for 6 years and beginning my seventh year and fourth term, and I've been a parent in the district for a long time. I have a college student, and he was an MS-88 student. I was a PTA president at MS-88 for a while. My kids went to PS 261 before that. I have a high schooler who has dyslexia, and I have a rising seventh grader at K 497. So I have liaised with a lot of the schools in the district over the years, and I look forward to liaising with some of the schools I haven't been so acquainted with. So I'm just excited to get to know all of you and keep at it.
Thank you, and I'll introduce myself. I'm Nancy Randall. I have 2 children, one in elementary school, one in middle school, and both in District 15. And I've been on the council for 2 years. I've served on this PTA president, on the SLT, equity committee, class parent, that actually is my favorite. And now I'm very grateful to be in this space, to be with all of you, to be with all of the people who voted for us. Thank you so much. I'm also now getting a PhD in education, so I'm passionate on many fronts about education, and I'm eager for us to be positive change towards really creating more just more wonderfulness, right? I always think back to that. I just want all of our kids to have a wonderful experience, and it's a lot of work to make that happen. So I'm not saying it's going to happen, but we're going to be here fighting to make it happen. So thank you all who voted for us as we fight for that. And with that, I would love to pass it to Rob and have you introduce yourself as well.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Rob Aguilar, District Director with the Office of Councilmember Alexa Aviles. She sends her regards and would like to congratulate you all as newly elected council members. This role is such an important one because you were all elected to represent the students and families of District 15. And as Councilmember Alexa Aviles, who is very much involved with education, she was a PTA president for 10 years. Members of her staff were also very much involved in education. I was a PTA president as well for a couple of years. And so we're very education driven. So she is grateful for you all taking this step in this wonderful task of representing our families in the district. So we thank you for that. Our office is looking forward to working with you all and collaborating as much as possible. So you have our support, and I'm happy to leave my contact information. So if there's anything that we can do to assist the CEC, please do not hesitate to reach out. And we wish you all the best as you take on this very interesting work. I served as a CEC member in a different district, and I can tell you that it's rewarding. It's at times stressful, but in the end, we always joke that we're here doing God's work. So thank you for that. and we wish you all the best. Thank you very much.
And we also have from Senator Chu's office, Francis Brown on the call. Francis, would you like to unmute yourself and say a few words?
Sure. Congratulations to you all on behalf of Senator Chu. I'm happy to see a couple of the same faces from last year and a lot of the new faces this year. Congratulations to you all, and I look forward to working with you, and so does the Senator on this upcoming year.
Thank you so much, Francis. Okay. With that, I will now turn it to Antonia.
Hello, everybody. I have a little update for you all. I went to that enrollment meeting about middle and elementary schools, and I just wanted to sort of give you an overview of what went on there. They kind of conducted like a survey of parents, like a focus group, and they had questions, and I just figured I would share the questions that they asked and just sort of give you sort of a flavor of what some of the responses that I heard from families were. The first question was about 3K and pre-K programs that offer different seat type options for families. School day seats run the standard school day of 6 hours and 20 minutes. Additionally, some of our contracted community-based organizations that offer 3K and pre-K also offer extended day and year and Head Start seats, which provide a longer day for eligible families. And the question was, can you offer us feedback on how your families understand the differences in the seat types in these early childhood programs? And so parents sort of spoke a lot about information and outreach challenges, getting information in their native language was difficult. The sharing of information through all the channels, be they the CBO or the DOE school. They talked about a lack of tech accessibility for families in getting this information. And they felt that there was an outreach gap between the different early childhood providers, be them the CBOs or the DOE schools. And enrollment sort of highlighted the fact that they don't control seat allocation, is what they said. And the Office of Early Childhood controls seat allocation. That was in reference to a comment about wait lists for these programs. The second question, current families have to apply to 3K, pre-K, and kindergarten every year, even if they want to remain at their current school. And they wanted to know what our thoughts were on exploring automatic matriculation for these grades. And so to me, it seemed like there was generally positive feedback on the idea of automatic matriculation, with some questions about how zoning would be impacted and how will G&T impact automatic matriculation to 3K through K. And a parent of a special needs child highlighted that she felt that continuity was a big plus for a child with special needs. The third question, this year they included G&T programs on the general kindergarten application, meaning that families could apply to both options on one application and receive one offer. They wanted our feedback on this change of having one application. So the responses from families were a bit more mixed. Some parents supported the single application. There was some parents who were concerned with how they ordered their choices on the application and how that impacted the slot that they received. They didn't want to lose their slot in their current school if they put their G&T school at the top of the list. One parent felt that a separate application could provide more certainty for families. Another parent wanted to be able to plan ahead. Concerns arose over distance and travel to G&T schools, and one parent felt that third grade was a more appropriate entry point for G&T because of travel and the complexity of the application process. The next question, currently for all of our early childhood and elementary processes, families have had an average of 4 weeks or more to accept or decline their main offer. These are separate from any waitlist offers. They wanted to hear our thoughts on if we thought it was too much time for families to respond to offers. Again, the reactions were mixed. Some parents felt that 4 weeks was a fair amount. Others thought 4 weeks was excessive because families hold on to their seats and then this impacts other families on the wait list. And then the final question, currently students applying to middle schools can, for the most part, only apply to schools in their district. They were exploring the idea of allowing middle school applicants to apply to any school in the city. Middle schools would first admit zoned and district, and then after the school has seats, after that, if the school has seats available, the school would admit out of district students. The proposal is intended to give families more options to apply to and create consistency with all the other admissions processes. They want to know our thoughts about expanding access for middle school students. Again, mixed reviews on this. I will say what I highlighted. My concern was that expanding access to out-of-district students, while it will fill seats in popular districts like District 15, will come at the expense of potentially emptying out and under defunding and closing schools in the other districts that surround us, like 13, 16, 17. Another parent asked a very good question, and I thought the answer from enrollment was rather disturbing. They said, the parent asked how class size reforms are being addressed. And enrollment said, they are researching, but have nothing to share. So there you have it. That is how that meeting went.
Did they say they don't have anything to share just with respect to the 3K kindergarten program?
No, just with respect to how the class size reforms were going to be implemented.
But only for that section of students or throughout?
That the comment came in the context of this middle school proposal. It didn't occur in the other segments about 3K and pre-K.
It's still concern.
Yeah.
Extended concern.
To me, my interpretation was that it was a global answer. Yeah. Oh yeah, right, because you were there. So that's what I have to report. Thank you.
All right. And with that, I am now going to pass it over to the Director of Student Services and Operations, Deidre Keys, Deidre, I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your second last name.
Hi, I know I have been. Hi, everyone. Congratulations, everyone.
Kali vote?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you. Yes.
Congratulations. It was a wonderful, little less drama than I would have anticipated, but it went really smoothly. So it's great to be here this evening. Ralph is still recovering. Nicole is on vacation, so they've asked me to share a little bit of information because it's summer. We don't have a lot to share, but I'll give you some of the ups and downs of what's going on. Able to share the PowerPoint? Or I might be able to share mine. Oh, great. And I'll just go over the agenda. So just brief agenda, talk a little bit about the instructional work that we've been digging into. I know it's for the New York City Reads and what that entails, the curriculum choices we're up with, some of the district events, a review of our mission and vision, some of our professional learning, our DCEP, which is due very shortly, how Summer Rising is going, and the want to share a little bit about the names of the District 15 team and some updates. Next slide. So this is just a little bit about the work that's been going on. So for the last months of May and June, the district team was quite feverishly trying to get ready for the upcoming school year with scope and sequences, with planning ahead for the school year. We feel very confident this year. We've had a year to get to know each other really, really strong. We have a lot of things going on. Grant partnerships. We just got just another grant last month on opening up a new school in Sunset Park. And just to kind of tag what someone had said before about that continuity, this school will really benefit the continuity. It's going to be a middle school that'll give opportunities to extend the dual language, to extend the Into the Horizons program for special education students. So we're really excited about that. The principals all did an equity case study, which really, really was incredible, where they had an opportunity to get a very, very close look at one of their students in their day-to-day practices and whether their instruction was rigorous or not. So network, and it's actually part of their CEPs this year. And in a few minutes, I'll tell you why it's really important to us. This year, the focus of principals in terms of their development is going to be about MTSS. And by that, we're talking about ensuring that the core instruction in classroom is solid, and that we are making sure that that core instruction is solid enough so that we don't create a system where we have a lot of intervention needs for our students. So we're really going to try and strengthen that core. Tier 2 and Tier 3, which strategies which would entail a more in-depth look at our response to intervention. Working on pipelines, teachers to AP, APs to principals. We're really excited about that. And I think we've mentioned already about the district universal screeners. So last year we had a lot of apples, oranges, pears, pomegranates, and everything, different schools using different types of screeners. It became really hard for us to figure out who was progressing, who was making great leaps, and who wasn't, because we were kind of had different fruit in the basket. So this year, after extensive review, we've all come to an agreement on the screeners that we're going to use. And we will have a beginning of the year, mid-year, and end of the year look at those to see where we're successful and where we need to support a little bit more. Just also about, again, the supports that we have, grants. We have applied for a ton of grants. We're still waiting for a few of those to come in. But though a lot of the grants are going to support the New York City Reads, support the literacy skills. And of course, math, we have a huge investment with metamorphosis and special education, continuing the work with diagnosing, not diagnosing for, I think it's called EPIC, the means of pre-screening and finding some of our students that might be at risk for dyslexia. So we'll move on that. And there's just a couple of other information in there about, again, the dyslexia program and the support that we have. Next slide. So New York City Reads, there has been a little bit of confusion on this, I think, citywide. And just to kind of reiterate, all of our schools are going to be asked to have a solid awareness program, phonics program, and then the curriculum at large, which I'm sure you've seen in the papers, and that is reducing the amount of curricula that is available, which is, again, the same way with the screen is it's a great means to have a systematic approach and a district-wide approach to that. But we will ensure that every school has the phonics, phonemic awareness programs in place to support all of these strands of the 5 fundamentals of reading. Next slide. So after Raphael really went hard on this, we are a phase 2 district with curriculum options, meaning that we do not have to implement a district-wide curriculum until September 2024. Because we have a lot of dual language programs, there was concern about them not having access to the HMH curriculum, which has translation available for the Spanish dual language programs. At the other hand, we had a lot of schools that District 15 was previously very heavy in Teachers College. So we had a lot of different curricula going on with different, for different reasons. Raphael went to seniorship and said, listen, we have different types of programs within our school. The program is unique, has unique needs, and the other elementary schools have different needs, and it would be very difficult for them to make such a dramatic change. So we're the only district in New York City that has approval to use HMH for our Spanish dual language schools and Wit and Wisdom for our other schools. I did have an opportunity to get a little insight into Wit and Wisdom. I think it does have some good aspects, especially for ELs. Some of that is building schema. So it's, I think we'll do it right. It's going to take a lot of professional development, and we're going to make sure that we have that all in place before September 2024. So we'll be planning all this year. Next slide. And then just going back to this again, because it's really, really important that it's just not about curriculum choices of Wit and Wisdom and HMH. Those programs, and they are clear about it, do not support phonics or phonemic awareness. And a lot of the reasoning behind behind the science reading was that we weren't supporting appropriately our phonemic awareness and phonics. So this year we're going to be making sure that every school has a phonemic awareness. In most cases, integrity. It's only about an 8-10 minutes a day. Their phonics development, which is about 30 minutes a day. ELA core. We're making sure that our students have all those components so they can be solid readers. And though we also have for the Spanish dual, the Spanish components for that. Next slide. So excited to tell you about some of our tentative district events this year. We have everything on the map laid out. Again, like I mentioned, we were working nonstop in May and June to make sure that we were able to start September with ease. So we have all of our district events laid out. We're going to have an art showcase, a day of service, previously known as Day of Action. And that is also going to be, I believe we're working with City Harvest on that. Project-based learning showcase will come back again. There'll be some changes, modifications. Going to have a STEM exploratory day. I can't tell you how excited we are about that. We have professionals coming in, physicists, doctors, scientists, who are going to work with our students. Really super excited about that. We will continue to have our recognition ceremony and our parent symposium, and Urban Debate League is TBD, but we will move forward with that. We're really excited about that as well. Next slide. So just wanted to briefly share with you the vision mission, which has not changed. This is just a review of that. I'll just give you 30 seconds to read through that. So Nicole, Raphael, and I sat down one day and said, you know, we have this robust vision and mission, but how do we relay the message in a very quick, rapid way that can emanate throughout the community, that everyone knows, and everyone knows exactly what we're on, what our focus is this year. You can go to the next slide. We came a motto for this year, and there was about 100 iterations of this. We wanted to be readily understood, something that we didn't have to look into or read for 30 minutes. And the idea behind this motto, if you can reach them, you can teach them. And our role as educators, our role with your children, is that we have to reach them. And too often, students will openly tell us, that's not the way I learn. I need to do it this way. This is important for me to learn. So our role this year and our focus, and through whether support and through supervisory, is going to be, if you can reach them, you can teach them. And we have to do whatever it takes to reach all of our students. Next slide. And then the theory of action aligned to our vision and mission is, we have to get to know our students well and leverage our collective strengths, and then we can create those conditions for every child to explore their potential. We have to get to know the students well. And the equity case study that our principals went through was the first layer of how we get to know our students well. And half the time, if you ask a student, they will tell you what they need. So we're really, really focusing on learning what the needs of our students are this year and how they learn, what engages them, what are their needs. Next slide. This is just sharing some of the professional learning series. On August 4th, the entire district team is going to share with me a scope and sequence for whatever professional learning they're responsible for this year. We have series for everything from principals, parent coordinators, ELA math, screener sessions to make sure that our teachers know how to give those screeners and make sure that they're getting the right information from those. PBL, social workers, they've already had an incredible series this year. ELS, compliance and pedagogy, special education, across the board. And this is not even finished yet, but all of these are going to have a scope and sequence, and the entire district community is going to have access to these professional developments, professional learning for the year. Next slide. Next slide. So just a little quick update on the DCEP. Things are moving along a little better this year. Last year, there were a lot of delays, and extended dates for due. Our team, as of yesterday, have completed the draft of the DCEP in terms of the information that is required for that to be up for review. So they've been working feverishly to make sure that all the information that needs to be input there from our end and what we have access to is in there. We are, so the DCEP has been passed around from person to person to person, just trying to ensure that the chancellor's priorities are met. That was a mandate from the chancellor. Superintendents will be evaluated on DCEPs, schools will be evaluated on CEPs. And his premise was far too long. The CEP was looked at as a compliance tool, but it really is a living document should be used, and we should be progress monitoring to make sure that we're achieving our goals. So we are still awaiting a lot of data to measure the 22-23 goals, but we have started the draft of the next one. And we're making sure also that our team is currently reviewing school CEPs and providing principals with feedback. Next slide. And just a quick update on summarizing. I have to give a huge shout out to Paula Stein, who had no experience with summarizing before and has been working with all the schools to make sure that whatever is needed is there. And it is, summer school always presents itself to be challenging as we're trying to create a whole new school year for 6 weeks. So it is a very challenging, but the students are actively engaged in the NSSI curriculum, which has some project-based career exploration. School sites have been able to admit more students to the program during the second enrollment period. I don't have, we've been inquiring on the exact amount. We're still waiting on that. And then just the general days of the last day of academics, the 10th, the SY program goes to the 14th. For high school, always the last man standing will finish up on the 17th. And then the last day of the CBOs are going to be August 18th for K-5 only. Regents High School dates the 16th and 17th. Next slide. So I title there, the District 15 team title is a link, and you can just click on that. I did put in the names of the team. Our team added a few more members. We have a new diversity coordinator, Omar Grills, who joined us last month, and he is really working hard outreaching to schools, trying to set up the equity, the scope and sequence for the Equity Congress and for the Youth Equity Congress, and a lot more. He's really looking forward to developing that. We also, since Vicky had retired, we brought on Karina Ardrefed, who comes from Central, and I have actually known her for a while, and she is a force, so we're really excited about that. And then I think the next slide is just a continuation of the team. And I believe that should be the list. So any questions? I'm here.
Thank you.
I'm going to pass it to our parliamentarian to run this portion of our meeting. You can first turn to public comment and see if there's any comments from the people on Zoom, the interpreters, the people here present, before turning it to CEC 15 members. And for CEC 15 members, you can go either around the table or down the list and ask each person if they have something to question, if they have a question or a comment.
Does anyone on the CEC also have? Oh, we're starting with public first and then press. Okay. And are we asking people to put their comments in here, or can they actually?
They can raise their hand.
Okay.
So there's three places. So you need to ask like the general people, the interpreters, and then the people in person.
Okay. All right. Hi. Does anybody here have any questions? You can raise your hand. I'm asking the people on Zoom. No. If you don't feel like raising your hand, you can also put something in the chat if you prefer. Any of the interpreters have any questions?
No questions on the Spanish line.
No question in the Bengali line as
Up to.
I think so.
no question from Mandarin line.
Said something. Okay.
Bengali and Mandarin both said their questions.
Oh, okay.
You said no questions?
Yeah.
Okay.
Both of them, all three of them said no questions.
And so now you can open it to our audience. And to our guests, our audience, do you have any questions? No? Okay, and now to the CEC.
Okay. Hi, Peter, thanks for being here. I'm not really sure where I'm looking to address you, but please know that I do mean hi. My question is about migrant students that we're supporting, and how many students has the district absorbed? Which schools are they going to? What's the allocation plan for that? And how are we doing that in alignment with our diversity plan? And then the last part is, what kind of extra supports are those schools and teachers getting in terms of resources and professional learning that's above and beyond what we would typically give in any year that we didn't have a migrant influx the size of which we have now? Thank you.
So how many students have we absorbed? Could you just go over some of those questions again? Because some of them I'll have an answer to, and some of them I might not. How many have been absorbed?
The first one was how many students are new to the district as a result of this larger crisis that these folks are facing? How many schools have absorbed students, and how are students distributed according to our equity plan or in some other manner, and in some other manner is determined by the Office of Enrollment or someone else outside of our district? The third part of the question was, what types of supports are schools getting? And specifically above and beyond in terms of either additional financial resources or professional learning supports. Thank you. Could you speak up a little bit? I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
So how many students have been absorbed? That number I have to get. So it's kind of tricky because for the most part, we have received a lot, and there are a lot of shelters in our neighborhood. Temporary housing typically doesn't like to share that information too much because of privacy. So some instances they let us know where the shelters are. We actually, for the most part, know where they are, but it's like terribly openly shared in terms of their privacy and making sure that folks aren't kind of showing up at these shelters. But we do have a lot in our district. PS 124 has probably absorbed more than any other school because of its proximity to shelters, and that goes to answer some of your questions on how are they distributed. We do not necessarily have control. That is the director of temporary housing has a heavy role in that, and actually we have a brand new director who's coming on, and I just want to make sure I don't misspeak because it is something I'm actually learning. I work with them in terms of overflow. They have their own enrolled people within their sites, and so we'll place students, and a lot of times it's out of the hands of enrollment. They do have a special status, so to speak, because all of them are going to be students in temporary housing. They're immediately temporary housing. That gives schools supplemental money. So schools will get a certain amount of money, and I do apologize, I don't know how much it is per student. I don't recall, but each school gets a certain percent per child. And there are rules surrounding that on how the schools can utilize that money. And they're rules. Sometimes schools are able to hire an additional staff member to support students' direct needs in terms of clothing. I know some of our schools have incredibly unique ways of using the funds. I think PS 94 has sometimes they'll use a paraprofessional because a lot of the parents have young children and attendance concerns. They have paraprofessionals, and I forget what it's called, that actually goes around the neighborhood and kind of goes door to door picking up students. So there's a lot of different ways that money can be utilized. In terms of extra support, that is where I'm going to give a huge shout out to our supervisor, Valeria Osa, who has been working tirelessly with students. We know there is really deep trauma. We know there is a lot going on. She has been instrumental in identifying needs. She has applied for, or she has received a trauma-informed grant. She is targeting those schools. She is matching those schools to getting professional learning. And I really can't say enough about how she has seen this and worked so closely with those schools and with their support. From my executive director, I will offer calls when schools have what we call overflow problems. There's not available class. There's not class space. There's no space in the building. And what I have learned throughout the years to work closely with particular how to align programs that really better meet the needs of some of those students, and also schools that have the capacity to take those students and have the supports already. So they may already have a bilingual counselor. They already have a bilingual social worker. So we look to place students. There are some laws governing around that students in temporary housing are mandated to go to the closest schools surrounding them, as long as there's space. So there are a lot of protections in place, and we do adhere by all of those protections. We also look for solutions to better absorb students, because we are a district that has embraced. I'm sure some of you have heard about the situation when PS 172 was identified as they were going to house some asylum seekers within that gymnasium, and the school was very clear that they are very supportive, but it just wasn't the appropriate place. And I know Raphael has been working with the chancellor and even the mayor's office in providing alternative solutions to that. It is difficult. I was at the mayor's town hall last night. There's no way around it. It's difficult. Some of these children are coming in the middle of the night, and it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, and it's a lot of funding that is required. That is not getting additional funding from the federal government at this point right now. And I believe the mayor said it was 4.5 billion in extra. So the only information I would have to give you is like the amount of students absorbed. That could get a little tricky for housing who are not asylum seekers, and we have student temporary housing for other reasons.
Thank you. It would be really helpful to get the answers to the other questions, so I can email them in, if that's okay. I don't want to take the floor, so anyone else.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We can just go around if anybody else has questions. No? No.
Wait,
hold on.
Oh, sorry. I have a question. Thank you so much. This was all very interesting.
Nancy.
I'm sorry.
I'll do what
Sorry,
I did
my
before.
computer's almost out of batteries on this.
Can I get the name of, I'm sorry, it's hard for me to see. Can I get the name of who asked the first question so I can get back to you?
Donalda.
Donalda.
Thanks.
Okay.
Nancy.
Hi, Nancy Cruz here. Thank you so much. This is like my burning question always. We're talking about getting to know the kids with the new curriculum, And of course, what rings in my head is what are the plans that we are making to decrease class size? I'm not hearing much about it, and I know there's a state law, and I think it's super important that teachers get to know, of course, the kids and their learning styles, but I don't see how they can do that in large class sizes. So I'm never seeing a conversation about it anywhere. So I hope this is okay to ask here, and you're the right person. Yeah, that's my question. That's it.
So I'm sorry, and I apologize because I'm not hearing terribly well. So is the question how we are going to manage the curriculum changes with the larger class size, or how, where are we with?
What's the plan to decrease the class sizes? Is that not part of the plan when you talk about having more personalized teaching, which of course is super important in understanding the kids? What was the motto here? It was a lovely motto. If you can reach them, you can teach them, which is really fabulous, and getting to know our students well. And I was just wondering how that kind of, what the plan is here to achieve that, knowing that we have a mandate now to decrease class sizes, and I think would go towards that lovely motto. And so just wanted to know what's being done here too.
Good question, Nancy. Actually, really good question, because in order to reach them, you need time with them. So I think Antonia had mentioned it earlier with respect to enrollment, kind of like the answers haven't been incredibly, they're still in kind of this area of trying to figure out how it's going to be done, because it does take a huge lift in terms of additional teachers, a lot of additional money. So I mean, I worked for the DOE for a long time, and I do know it's just not, it's not as easy as snapping our fingers. And and budget is going to have to increase in order to make that work. But you're right, it is hard when we are trying to have the appropriate amount of formative assessment for our students, so that we know exactly where they are and exactly what their needs are and exactly what standards that need to be addressed with our students. A lot of that's going to come in the form of professional learning for our teachers, and making sure that some of our teachers are going to go through changes with the screeners, making sure that the data that they get from those screeners, they're able to interpret. But it also comes down to a lot of different things, and there's a lot of things moving at the same time. Some of our schools are going to be abruptly changing curriculum, not abruptly, a year from now, but we're trying to get ahead of everything by making sure that we have that professional learning, that by the time the new curriculum is in their classrooms, and some of them already have the curriculum and won't need that assistance. But for those who are going to be changing and shifting, we have a whole year to get that training up and running. So it's not going to, we're trying to ensure that we don't have that, what they call implementational dip, meaning that, when we get curriculum, teachers are like, what is this? How am I going to do this? How am I supposed to make? We want our teachers to be prepared by the time that curriculum comes in September 24, to make sure that that is prepared. But the reality is that teaching is an incredibly difficult career. If you are really, my husband is a math teacher, and I see the amount of hours that he puts in, and it's staggering, just trying to make sure that every skill is mastered. So you're right, the best thing for teachers would be a smaller class size. They could really get to know their students. Our job is, that's a state level for the state, and the question for them on how they're going to implement it. Our job at the district level is to make sure that the curriculum our schools are using, they understand how to use it, they know how to interpret and analyze data, and that they know their students. So it's not a full, because that lowering of class size is still being passed around a little bit as to how that's going to happen. But we're going to make sure that our
Thank you. Thank you so much. I have a question.
or a couple of questions. Thank you, Deidre, for your help and all that information you provided. So you mentioned that there will be some changes made to the project-based learning presentation that happened last year. And I was there, it was a beautiful showing. I think it was really important to show how the district is really working with the CEC's idea of creating a school-wide enrichment model through this more practical types of learning. But I did notice that there were some schools missing, and in looking for the reasons why some schools were not present, I understand that it was something that the AP was in charge of conducting, and some schools do not have APs, which leads to the other part of this question. So the first question would be like, what are the changes that you are implementing, and if the APs being in charge of leading these projects will be a part of those changes or not, so that we can have more schools participating. And there were also you mentioned something about a different procedure on going from teacher to AP from AP to principal pipeline. So I'm interested in knowing if we have been able to fill those vacant seats, how the budget has affected some of the schools in our district to be able to retain, or, what are the numbers with the AP situation right now in our district? I know that some schools had part-time APs, so have we been able to make them full-time? Because it still creates a sense of deficiency for the principals. And I'm really excited about the DI coordinator. One thing that has been troublesome to me working with DEI has been that in the district it feels pretty disjointed. So I don't know if Omar can come over and give us an idea of how DEI is going to be more unified, or what ideas can we implement as a district to really propel DEI forward, and see what DEI really means, because it seems to have different meanings across schools. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that for now.
That's a lot, Vanessa.
Yeah,
Yeah. So as far as I know, the only two schools that weren't present at that PBL were 958 and 295. And you're right, because of their lack of APs in network. 958 actually had a PBL presentation on their own, which I don't think I've ever seen anything in my life. It was unbelievable, off the charts, most rigorous thing I've seen in a really long time. 295, that is true. She didn't have an AP. She is hiring an AP as far as I know for this year. I think it's already done. So that was the reasoning behind that. And some of the feedback we got about the APs was it was a very heavy lift on them. In trying to manage that. And because of logistics, we had tried to invite teachers to some of the sessions. We just didn't have the capacity to hold all of the APs and teachers in a particular setting. It was just too many. So it was something that we were looking forward to do. We did once. It was really, really difficult to have that many people at the same time within the district. So what we did is we met with our principals advisory and the APs and came up with a plan to kind of shift this to a professional learning series with the teachers this year. So we're going to get some key people. Our Karina, our ELA specialist, is working on a scope and sequence for the PBL and continuing network and growing network. So we're really super excited about that. APs will be involved as custodians of kind of the implementation, but we are going to shift that more into the hands of our teachers in an area. So vacancies, sometimes I have to be careful not to put my own opinion. It's hard now. There's a teacher shortage. It's hard. I do think with the new USC contract, it makes it more lucrative or more, a good recruitment tool right now based on that. but there is a nationwide, I shouldn't even say nationwide, it's more than nationwide. There are teacher vacancies around the world. It's problematic, and it's about recruitment at this point. So there are a few AP vacancies throughout the district, but I don't think anything that we're going to have a problem filling. It's just a matter of some of them are in the process of interviewing. I know one of our schools, I think we're okay with APs right now. I think there's one school that's interviewing. Other than that, I think we're pretty robust. We have, it's in terms of vacancies for teachers, we share the excess list throughout our schools. And what I find amazing.
One second. Can you hear me now? Yeah, I'm sorry.
One thing I found amazing about District 15 is the way principals actively make sure that any excess teacher finds a home somewhere in District 15. And that's what I really, really love about District 15, that no teacher is left to kind of fend for themselves. And, you know, sometimes accessing happens, enrollment shifts, things like that. But generally speaking, teachers are taken care of. So they are sharing those lists. I haven't heard of anything dramatic. I do know the budgets are in terms of getting appeals done and things like that in a much, much, much better place. We have a lot of things that were done months before they were last year. I haven't heard too many rumblings. There are a couple of schools where there's rumblings, and we're actively advocating for them and kind of keeping on the ball with that. But it's been, knock on wood, so far so good. And then the last thing is, I would love to set up a meeting with Omar. I think he would love it. He is going from school to school to school, trying to match them. He has the MBK grant, and he's trying to figure out which schools can benefit from working with which folks. So he's super excited. He's getting his scope and sequences. There is a learning curve, learning which schools have which needs. You know, I already told him today, 124 is a high number of students in temporary housing. We got to make sure we have our eyes laser focused on supporting 124. So I would love to set up. I'm sure he would love it too. He's a really good guy. He's working all day, learning about the district. He's got great ideas. And I just had a great meeting with today. So I'm really excited about his work.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Do you have any more questions? Let's keep going around.
No, I have one. I have one question.
I think now plus to yours. Well, no, just keep going around.
Another one.
Already went.
I'm
so.
okay. I don't have any questions.
I don't have any questions. I have two questions.
Okay.
I'm not hearing anyone. If someone's asking a question, I'm not hearing.
Oh, just one second. Nancy is going to answer. Nancy Randall is going to ask a question.
Hi, Deidre. Nancy Randall here. Do you hear me? Not yet.
Very faintly.
Oh, wait a minute. Why didn't she hear you?
What is that?
It's unmuted. Can you hear me?
She should be able to hear you.
Very, very faintly.
Is the mic on? Totally registering. Oh, well, now you pulled it out.
Oh, sorry.
She should be able to hear you because this microphone is.
Can you hear me now?
Is live.
Very, very faintly.
Huh. Should
I unmute myself? Is there going to be reverb if I unmute myself?
I'll mute this. And
Okay, I got you. Okay, my
hear
ear.
me now?
It's not me. It was my problem. My earbuds started to work again.
Oh, okay. Okay. Let's see. Where are my questions? So this isn't necessarily something that you might be able to answer right now, but I was curious. You said that there was work on these equity case studies, right? I'm curious to know more about that. I'm curious to also know why, in terms of the dual language programs, why the HMH program was only chosen for the Spanish programs. And so for the Mandarin, the Bengali, and the French dual language programs, Are they going to be working with Wit and Wisdom? Is that basically what are those dual language programs going to have? I think the new model is, I love the new model. I think you guys are doing great. And then I'm curious about the DCEP draft. I would love to see it. If you know, when you're able to share it with us, I would love to see it. And also when you guys have the numbers for Summer Rising and how many students were admitted, I would also love to see that. And then I would also love to see, Donald asked a few really important questions. I would love to see the information also based off of those questions. But at this moment, if you could just address my question about what's happening with the other dual language programs, and also just give a little bit more information about what the equity case studies are. I'd appreciate that.
Sure. So HMH has all its curriculum translated into Spanish. And the majority of schools wanted Wit and Wisdom, but the dual language schools said, whoa, if we give up HMH, we're going to be sitting here translating for the rest of our lives. So that's when Raphael kind of went to senior leadership and said, listen, we have to be correct here, and that we're not going to rewrite a whole curriculum because it's available in Spanish. It is not available for Mandarin. It's not available for Bengali. Those schools will retain the HMH for the whole entire school. They're not going to have multiple curricula all over the place in the school. So it's just that it has the availability of the Spanish. So a lot of the Spanish dual schools already have HMH. So they're going to get to keep HMH. The rest of the schools kind of leaning towards Wit and Wisdom because it was less of a shift from where they were. So it's kind of like trying to please both groups at the same time. That's the reason where that came. And that's why we got approval for that. In terms of the equity case study, I'm going to try and quickly pull it up on and I can probably share one of them with you. It was kind of exciting, and especially when it turned up on the CEP as that they were supposed to do that. And I'll just give you some. So principals were charged with getting a bunch of data and kind of drilling down into finding out where the most marginalized students were. Then they found one particular student within that group, and they identified their strengths, the student's interests, students' aspirations. They had conversations, interviews. They took that student's particular data and drilled down on that. Then they shadowed the student for a whole day. Principals were told to erase a day from the calendar and shadow the student all day, which I loved. I mean, when I used to do observations as a principal, I used to sit down and pretend to be a student and be like, what do we do? And you really get to appreciate what students go through. And you also get to appreciate the level of engagement that they have, and sometimes the level that they don't have. So they focused on questions like who did the most talking, was there scaffolding for the student, did the teacher connect to the learner's context, interest, cultural knowledge, and this is now you see where our motto starts to come. How does the teacher create a community of learners? Was there evidence of, pedagogical compliance? How does the instructional design encourage students to employ higher order thinking skills? So all these questions, they had a whole list of questions that they were looking at while they spent their day with that child. Then we would come back with principals at meetings, and we'd kind of drill down and do some protocols on the findings. We met with them on each principal had to share their equity case study with the district. And we went through those. And what was really incredible was on June 30th, when we had our last principal, actually not June 30th, in July, we had a principals meeting, and we did a protocol with the findings of the equity case study, and principals really loved it. I mean, really appreciated the fact that the time they had to really get to know one of their students. So it was really, really really good stuff. We're going to continue to do that. And it makes you, I think it forces principals to really stay in touch with students at a really granular level. And I think I'm just gonna, and I will work on getting you the DCEP and the numbers for Summer Rising, Nancy.
Thank you so much.
High school.
Yeah. Yeah. So, all right. Thank you so much, Deidre.
Thank
Much
you.
appreciated.
And anything, Nancy, just reach out. I'm on deck this week. Everyone is out. I'm all alone.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, thank you.
Have a great night.
You too. Thank you. And now we have the high school report, but Principal Liz Rodriguez, who stopped by earlier, was unable to return. There was some type of unexpected situation. So we will move her to another meeting if she is able to return. So then we will now move to general public comment. And now I turn it back over to Leslie to do the general public comment. You can ask the people in the room if there's anything that they would like to say, and you can ask the interpreters if there's anybody, and as well as the general audience on the call.
I'm going to start with the general audience on our Zoom. Do we have anybody that has any comments? Oh, can you hear me? I'm opening it up to the people on the Zoom. Do you have any comments or questions? You can just raise your hand. If you don't feel like raising your hand and speaking, you can also put it in the chat. I'll open it up to our translators. Do you have anyone that has questions? Do you have any questions or comments?
No questions in the Spanish line.
Thank you.
No questions on the Mandarin line.
Thank you.
No question in language.
And for the Mandarin, do you have questions?
No questions on the Mandarin
line. Now I'll open it up to the people in the room. Does anybody have questions? No? Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, Leslie.
Thank you.
I move to adjourn our calendar meeting. I thought you didn't want. You do want.
Oh, you do?
Oh, I thought you didn't want to speak.
Just hello and congratulations to all.
Oh.
Greetings from Superintendent Janice Ross. We have the bulk of the District 15 high schools, even though you actually have 4 other superintendents that have District 15 schools. But we are committed to doing it every month. And I was just saying to Camille, I said that I think this month I'm going to bring you guys a principal each time we meet. So I'm hear more about what's happening in those schools. And very committed to getting you used to this.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So I move to adjourn this meeting.
Okay, I'll second the motion.
All right.
What are we adjourning at?
8:36 p.m. Thank you, everyone, for joining our calendar meeting. And we will now take a 2-minute break before we begin our business meeting.
unmute you. Yeah, Deidre was the one with the problem. You're unmuted right now.
All right.
I'll turn this around.
All right, welcome back, everyone. Good evening, and thank you for coming to the CEC 15 July 25th, 2023 business meeting. I am Nancy Randall, President, and I would like to call this meeting to order at 8:44 p.m. We are coming to you from the district office at 131 Livingston Street. I would like to ask everyone here to please sign the attendance sheet at the back of the room. Currently, we have 19 people on the call. Thank you all for being here. And should I not turn it to the interpreters then?
Yeah, I think you have to.
Le voy a dar la oportunidad a los
All right,
intérpretes
so
ahora de
I'm now going to
introducirse.
turn it to the interpreters, so please
Entonces voy a dar la
introduce
oportunidad de
themselves.
los intérpretes para que se introduzcan. Por
Start
favor.
with the Mandarin interpreter.
普通话请拨打347-966-4114，并输入 ID 号2788558910。再说一遍，普通话请拨打347-966-4114，并输入 ID 号2788558910。Interpreter, the Mandarin interpretation has been completed. You may now proceed.
Thank you so much. And now I'll turn it to the Spanish interpreter, please.
Hi, good night. The following message will be in Spanish. Mi nombre es Alexander y junto con el señor Díaz voy a estar interpretando en español. Para poder conectarse a la línea de español, por favor, marque el número de teléfono 347-966-4114 y el número de PIN 316-074-154 más el signo del número. Repito, para escuchar esta conferencia en español, marca el número de teléfono 347-966-4114 más el número de PIN 316-074-154 más el signo del número. Spanish introduction complete. You might proceed.
Thank you, and I'll turn it to the Bengali interpreter, please.
সবাইকে আপনারা যারা বাংলাতে এই পুরো মিটিংটা বাংলাতে শুনতে চান তারা দয়া করে এই নাম্বারে আপনারা ডায়াল করুন 347-966-4114। আমি আবারও বলছি 347-966-4114। তারপর এই পিন আইডিটা দিন 121-172-27 হ্যাশট্যাগ কিংবা নাম্বার চাপুন। আবারও বলছি 121-172-27 হ্যাশট্যাগ চাপুন। ধন্যবাদ। থ্যাংক ইউ।
Thank you so much. And now I'll turn it to our Secretary, Nancy Cruz, to call the roll.
You can come over here.
Does this help? Can you hear me?
I
It
hear
just
you.
depends whether this picks you up. So if you want to come over.
Okay, so roll call. Councilmember Hans Arietta?
Here.
Councilmember Lauren Barkin?
Here.
Councilmember Donalda Chumney?
Here.
Councilmember Nancy Cruz, present. Councilmember Jonathan Davis?
Here.
Councilmember Antonia Ferraro? Present. Councilmember Vanessa Gonzalez Uyoka? Yes. Councilmember Leslie King? Here. Councilmember Yoon Lee? Councilmember Nancy Randall?
Here.
Councilmember Mamoon Rashid?
Here.
Councilmember Danley Vidal?
Thank you. All right, we have quorum and no absences. And now we will vote on the minutes.
So that's your job as well as the secretary, is to make a motion. Yeah, so there's 3 minutes on the agenda from last term. There's only 3 of us who were present at those meetings, but the council still has to vote to approve those minutes. And what we do is we just vote individually to approve, but we don't do it by roll call. we ask for objections to approve. If there are no objections, the minutes are approved. Yeah.
So we'll do it.
You just announce the minutes for the day, ask if anybody has any questions or concerns about them, and if there are any objections to approving.
So, let me know I'm doing this right. So we'll now bring our attention to 2023, April 25th calendar meeting minutes. If there are any objections to approval of the minutes, please raise your hand. So let the record show that there are no objections to minutes. Okay, we'll bring our attention to May 9th, 2023 business meeting minutes. Are there any objections to approval of those minutes? There are none, so let the record show there are no objections, and the minutes are approved. Now we'll bring our attention to May 30th, 2023 calendar meeting minutes. Are there any objections to approval of those minutes? Let the record show there are no objections, and the May 30th and 30 minutes.
Thank you so much. All right, and now we will review and vote on our 2023-24 budget resolution. And since we do have a treasurer, I will turn it over to our treasurer to read this resolution.
Yes. Yeah, I can give you some explanation about what went on, what goes on. So the first budget, we have to approve this week, or we can't send it. This budget is not in any way our final budget. We can vote every single meeting up until February to change this budget. I had a conversation with Shanice. We looked at last year's budget. I said, where did we spend the money? And this preliminary budget was worked up in consult with our AA. So take a look at it. It's not a final thing. We do have to approve it, but you can. This doesn't seem right. Next month we can do it all.
Antonia, does this need to be read into the record, or?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Would anyone like to read it, or would you like me to read it?
I think you, as the treasurer,
I will do that.
Here,
So
let me.
we have the draft of our 2023-2024 budget resolution version 1. Whereas the annual budget for CEC 15 for the 2023-24 school year is $25,000. Whereas on July 25th, 2023, did you do that in July? Or that's what we're going to potentially do?
Oh, well, yeah.
Will potentially vote to approve the annual budget is as follows. $4,500 to the procurement card or P card, object code 0100. $7,500 for members reimbursement and meeting expenses, object code 0400. $1,500 for technology, object code 2 desktop computers, a tape recorder, and a headset. $1,000 for office supplies, object code 0100. $250 for administrative assistants travel expenses, object code 0100. $250 for communication apps and templates, object code 0199, and $10,000 for CEC 15 administrative assistant salary increase. So whereas the members of the CEC 15 present at the July 25th, 2023 calendar meeting approve of the budget amendment, and then it lists all our names. Presuming that everyone whose names are listed votes yes.
Do you have any questions about any of these lines? like the AA. Yeah.
You are saying $10,000 increase. So how much she is getting or he is getting?
So I'm gonna go back through the history of this. There's some history. We hired Shanice last year. What? Oh, there should be one floating around. Oh, is this is the. So last year we. What? I don't think, no, because it's not about, I'm not going to share her salary with you precisely. I'm just gonna explain why, but that's a good point, why there is a salary. We went through an exhaustive search for over a year to find an AA. And the DOE's salary, starting salary for an AA is exceedingly low. And I could tell you what that is in an executive session. I can't tell you what that is in a public meeting. But thank you for, we couldn't get anybody. We went through 9 rounds of interviews with many candidates for each round. And time again, everybody said the salary was too low and they wouldn't take the job. So we dug into our own CEC budget to add $10,000 to the AA salary. And we were able to hire Shanice with that. Now that was done last year, and that will always be done every year unless we vote as a council to increase it. I'm not sure we can. I don't think the council can decrease.
Decrease would be insane.
No, it would be
I think
insane.
increasing.
There's like a raise that's from the other money source. There is an increase in it. I'm not sure. Shanice would know. She said
Typically not.
it's like frozen. So that $10,000 comes out of our budget every year because it was predetermined by the last council and approved by the DOA. So I don't want to use the word stop, but we're obligated to formulate our budget around that going forward.
It is in our best interest.
We can't put these meetings on without the support of an AA, especially given that the public expects some level of hybrid participation. And we can talk after the meeting, and I can tell you exactly what the sum is.
And you are talking about that P card.
P card. The P card is how we pay for everything. It's petty cash card, and that's how we pay for our food, for our meetings, unless we do a purchase order. Shanice, do you want to explain better what a P card is?
That's a credit card. Buy something online for the office or for if you have an event. You can go up to $5,000.
Are there plans to put this like
sound equipment, does that come out of town, or does that change? with-
That could come out of
I didn't see it
technology
in the
line.
tech- I didn't see it
It's
listed. Okay.
Oh, it's not
This is not
specifically
exhaustive.
listed,
This
but
could be other things.
it could fit into the tech line. If we wanted to add more money to the tech line next month, we could certainly take money out of some other place except for the AA's salary. In fact, I should probably remove increase from that line because it is no longer an increase. It's just a salary. So I would move to make that edit to this draft resolution.
Does that need any kind of parliamentary procedure to adjust this?
No, we just vote to approve this budget with the change of deleting the word increase.
Thank you.
When there is word increase, a lot of questions. When it says increase, oh, $10,000.
Right,
increase,
right.
There is a question mark. So
Right.
If there is no word increase, oh, salary. $10,000.
Yes, yes. Do you want to move to approve?
I move to approve this budget resolution version 1 with the omission of the word increase from the last bullet point.
Second. Thank you. And the parliamentarian can read the roll to, so we can vote? I'm not the parliamentarian, the secretary, sorry.
Shall I call out everybody's name?
Yeah,
when they
just
vote?
call it every.
Okay. I should have said this before, but maybe in a future vote, we'll say to supplement the salary, because it sounds like it's paying salary.
Oh, you'd
To
rather,
supplement, but that can be.
you'd rather.
10,000 to supplement the CEC, because it's a supplement, it's not her salary.
Okay, so we could create another motion. We could say $10,000
To supplement.
to supplement the CEC 15 administrative assistant salary and delete the word increase.
So are we
Okay.
wrong?
Yes.
Well,
Now we need another motion.
I'm sorry. That's the no.
Okay.
Sorry.
But do I?
First, we have to vote against Janelle's motion to now vote, to then introduce that motion. and vote.
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
So I think I'm making
You're
a
making
motion that's a little bit more complex,
Yes.
which is to adjust the last bullet item to say $10,000 to supplement the CEC administrative assistant salary, omitting the word increase at the end. Thank you, John.
Oh, okay.
And now I do a roll call,
And
and
now
everyone
you
votes yes,
do-
up or down, and yes or no.
Yes.
Councilmember Hand Arietta.
Oh, he can't vote. He cannot vote yet. He hasn't.
Oh, that's been formally.
Yeah.
Councilmember Lauren Barker. Yes. Councilmember Donalda Trump.
Yes.
Councilmember Nancy Cruz. Yes. Councilmember Jonathan Davis.
Yes.
Councilmember Antonia Ferraro.
Yes.
Councilmember Vanessa Gonzalez Uerka. Yes. Councilmember Leslie King.
Yes.
Councilmember Yun Lee.
Yes.
Councilmember Nancy Randall.
Yes.
Councilmember Mahmoud Rashid.
Yes.
Councilmember Downley Vidal.
Thank you, guys. And you know, you're gonna work with the EAA to make sure that this is what we want in the future.
All right, so we are moving the discussion of school liaison assignments to the August meeting. There are additional schools that we need to also add. There's a lot of D75 programs that we wanna make sure that we're adding. And that's a length. We have a hard out at 9:30 here, so we do not have the time for that lengthy conversation. And we're also not going to have a lengthy conversation about the meeting schedule, but we do want to go over the meeting schedule. So Do you want to share
On
the
this,
draft, the the 23-24 CC 15 calendar and meeting topics draft?
should I share it on the screen or should I just?
Oh, well, not everybody has a screen, so maybe we just,
I would have to make copies of this, but everybody should have access to the document. You can print it out here.
okay, so let's make copies, just, it's a working document, but I think if everybody has an opportunity to look at it, it's a little better. So we had a lot of, while you guys are doing that, we had a lot of, what's the proper term? A lot of uncertainty as to what date we would schedule our August meeting for. We found out that, well, first of all, the bylaws ask us to do it the last Tuesday of the month, which is August 29th. On top of that, August 22nd, Shanice is actually not going to be here, and we will not do anything without Shanice. So it will have to be August 29th. That settles it. Do we need to vote on combining? No, we don't need to vote on combining.
No.
Okay, so then we are combining the August business and calendar meeting for August 29th, which is the last Tuesday of August. And kind of going back to the conversation about whether or not you can be remote, just to over clarify it, unfortunately, you cannot be remote because of open meetings law, the state law that says that we must now, it says COVID is over basically, and we must now be back to being in person. And so because of that, there's no more executive orders, there's no more state of emergency according to the state for us to not be in person. So we must be in person. Now we have hybrid meetings so that the people that are at home can continue to attend our meetings and be present without having to be in the space with us, but we must be present. So if you know you're not going to be here, you know, you're traveling somewhere and you want to log on, that's fine, please do so. But you won't be able to vote and you will be counted as absent. It might be an excused absence depending on your reason for being gone, but you will be absent and you won't be able to vote. So does everybody understand that? No, the meetings, our business meetings are here. Our calendar meetings go to a different public location every month, normally a school. And also it needs to be an accessible school. So we always make sure that we're going to a school that has accessibility, basically. We would like to be able to go to as many schools around the district as possible. So we've been, I think last year was really the first year that we were back in person from COVID. And so we were able to go to a number of different schools in different parts of the district. But the most important thing is that it needs to be a building that's going to be accessible. Next month we'll be here. Yeah. I don't have one.
Oh, sorry. If there's another one, Nancy needs one. Sorry.
Thank you. Okay, so then we'll just go through this briefly. So July 25th is today. You can scratch out August 8th and it will be August 29th. Tuesday, September 12th would be here, business meeting. So because Tuesday the 26th would still be, sundown will be after 6:30 p.m. on Tuesday the 26th. So instead, our calendar meeting will not be able to be on Tuesday the 26th. It will be on Tuesday the 19th. So Tuesday the 19th. Tuesday, October 10th, business meeting, Tuesday, October 24th, calendar meeting. And these school numbers are the school numbers where the meetings were held last year. They aren't necessarily the school numbers where the meetings will be held this year. It's just Antonio had a great idea to make sure to keep those numbers because these are schools that we know are accessible. So that was very smart to do so.
We only have a handful of schools that have accessibility. They're not all accessible.
Yeah. Tuesday, November 14th, business meeting here. Tuesday, November 28th, calendar meeting. So that would be the Tuesday after Thanksgiving. And normally the December meeting is combined. So then that would be Tuesday, December 12th would be both business and calendar meeting. Says regular calendar meeting would be December 19th, but no, it would be later than that. Oh, because of the change, right? It would be December 19th. But since the dates are so close, it would make sense to combine them. And also December, there's so much travel, there's so many holidays. Tentatively, our legislative breakfast would be January 5th. And the legislative breakfast, for anybody who is new to it, it's a wonderful opportunity to invite the elected officials of our district and of our borough and of our city and of our state and of our nation to come. And so this year, Antonia and Camille organized an event that was absolutely amazing. It was at the borough president's office. What's the name of that building?
Borough Hall.
At Borough the Borough Hall. It was a Borough Hall in this huge space. Nancy spoke, and it was an opportunity for the elected officials to be there and listen to the parents of our district. So we invited parents who are on the SLT, who are on the PTA, as well as other parents who wanted to be a part of the event to come and to speak about what's important to the families of their schools, and the elected officials were there to both speak and listen. There was breakfast served, and so hopefully next year we'll grow it even more. There were many elected officials that came. I thought it was just amazing to have so many of them in one place and share with them the things that were important to the families of our district. Tuesday, January 9th would then be the business meeting. Tuesday, January 30th. Do we know when Chinese New Year, Lunar New Year is?
Is that on the bottom of this? Lunar New Year is January 22nd through the 5th of February.
So then the holiday would only fall on the 22nd, is that correct? I think we're fine with Tuesday,
Yeah.
January 30th, right? Yeah. Thursday, February 13th would be the business meeting. Last year it fell on February 14th, which technically isn't a holiday, but we figured some people might want to celebrate that night, so we moved it. Tuesday, February 27th would be the calendar meeting. Just realizing I might not be here that day if it's Mardi Gras. I don't know. I grew up in Rio de Janeiro and New Orleans. I celebrate Mardi Gras wherever I am. Thursday, March. Okay, the SCA public hearing. We don't have a date for that. Okay. Tuesday, March 12th would be the business meeting. This PBL was shared tonight, March 13th. Yeah. All right.
March 13th.
So March 13th. So that's Wednesday after our meeting. Okay. Tuesday, March 26th would then be our calendar meeting. Easter weekend would fall after that, so that doesn't interfere. Tuesday, April 9th. Does that interfere with Eid at all? Because
Eid is April 10th.
But is there a
Monday, March
Depends on the
31st
sun.
is the
It's gonna
DOE
be
day.
changed. It's true.
Yeah, we might want to we might want to like go up to January and then in January revisit.
The DOE
Some of
calendar
this.
for next year says Monday, March 31st is the
Oh.
Monday, March 31st.
yes.
Well, that doesn't impact the 26th of March.
Okay.
No.
And that doesn't impact April 9th. Do you see where it says Eid April 10th?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is that wrong?
I don't know. I mean, I
It
don't.
says I'm on the 23-24 calendar. No, I'm on the 24-25 calendar. Sorry, guys. Hold on. Many of them, they released so many of them this year.
Yeah, they
All at
did.
one time.
They did.
So, sorry, I'll find out and I'll see which time I can.
But does Eid start the night before?
So it says Eid is April 10th. next
Right.
year.
So
April 10th Wednesday.
does it start at sundown? Okay. It starts on the 9th. So then we need to change the date of the Tuesday, April 9th meeting. So that would then, we either combine our April meetings or we hold, let's see, what would be the previous Tuesday? It would be April 2nd. So we either do Tuesday, April 2nd for the business meeting, or we combine our April meetings.
Okay.
If you give them
Okay.
an option,
Yeah.
they will combine.
Combine.
Okay, so then we're combining it to April 16th.
Mm-hmm.
All right. All right. Tuesday, May 14th, business meeting, Tuesday, May 28th, calendar meeting, Tuesday, June 11th. So then we would be combining our June meeting as well to June 11th. So
Do you
Tuesday,
want to choose? Okay.
Tuesday, I mean, June 25th is the end of the school year. Everybody
Yeah.
is
Okay.
just, I think people are really checked out by then. June 17th, okay, that doesn't interfere. Okay, so,
Can I ask
thank
a
you,
question
Antonia.
Can I ask you a question about the August meeting? I'm definitely gonna be away, it's me take our vacation. And there's no way to do that meeting earlier. The calendar meeting, we can't combine, we can't do the calendar meeting earlier in August.
We can't do it the 22nd because Shanice isn't here.
Oh, we can only do the 3rd or the 4th.
No, we could do it earlier in August. I think earlier is where,
gone. Yeah,
earlier
there's
got
always
really
somebody else
tricky.
gone.
Earlier got
Okay.
really tricky.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, we just on the Lunar New Year, the
Yeah.
day is incorrect.
Oh.
So yeah,
Yeah.
because we use the lunar calendar.
Yeah, of course.
So we just check the net day is from last year.
Oh.
So this year is February 9th to February 24th.
February 9th to February what?
24.
24.
Okay, so we're. I think.
Wow. February 9th to February 24th. That, well, then you could combine, you could have the one meeting on the 27th. You can combine your business and calendar on February 27th.
Okay.
Because the 13th falls within that.
I was gonna ask a stupid question, but
What?
I won't.
Oh,
Okay. Okay, then we can do that. That's a lot of not meetings.
you could, I mean, you could do it before the 9th, the first week of February. Hold a business meeting the first week of February.
Let's do that. Let's do that. I feel like in February, there's a lot. By the time we
Yeah.
get to January, February, we've got so much that we need to get done.
Yeah, and if you want to have a final budget vote, like,
Yeah, so we need, it's okay. So instead of February 13th,
February 6th.
February 9th. Okay, so yeah, so let's do February 6th.
February 6th.
February 6th for business meeting.
February 6th.
Thank you. Okay, all right. It is 9:19, 9:20. We're about to get kicked out of this building.
Yeah.
So does anybody have any old or new business that they need? Yes.
I just have a quick question on the calendar. Do you have a list of all the accessible schools, or do you need input from us on which schools are accessible? Because I don't see our school here and it's accessible.
Which? 839.
I know I know that there is a list of accessible schools. That list there are schools like PS 58 technically is not accessible. However, it actually is accessible because there's a side entrance that is right from the street and is a really easy accessible entrance. So I think if anybody knows of a school that maybe doesn't
Those schools
seem
are accessible
okay, yeah,
schools, like
right.
they are listed accessible.
Yeah.
321 had to modify its whole, yeah, entry for that, and 839 has a D75 school there.
Oh, okay, okay.
All
Okay,
right, so
great.
we can just, we could
Yeah.
add 839.
Thank you. Thank you.
And 321 is accessible now too?
Okay, anything else? All right, guys, we will be in contact and communication, but we will see each other again, whomever's available on August 29th. Please reach out to me and Antonia and Vanessa with any questions that you might have about, council-related questions. We're happy to communicate. Always, Shanice is amazing and available. Yes.
Is the CEC booklet, the instruction booklet here by chance? The CEC.
Oh, the one that they gave.
I have it.
And they never got it.
Right.
So I'm not gonna give you.
I don't want to take it.
Right.
They're not here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been told that I was gonna get sent to the.
Yeah.
No?
I asked, maybe would ask me to pick one up for him, and I said, can I take one? They're like, nope.
Really?
Yeah. They said you could take one per person, and we would get them to other people.
And they haven't done it. They also said they would get translated ones. That hasn't happened.
A motion to adjourn?
I second.
What time?
It is 9:22. We have adjourned this meeting. Thank you all for being here. We need to get out of this building.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, interpretation. You're dismissed. Have a good night.
Thank you. Have a good night too. Raymond, Pierre,